Hello, how's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Monday, 28th of the October. It's one day has passed since Arsenal played Liverpool, obviously, 24 hours after that 2-2 draw. Still, as I tweeted out in the morning on X or Twitter, still have a bit of a sour taste in my mouth after that game because, let's be real, in the first half, Liverpool were there for the taking. We could have won the game, we could have gone for it, we could have done it. In the second half, we also could have gone for it and we could have done it. Yet we decided to sit back, and in a way, in the second half as well, it could have gone, Liverpool could have snatched it, obviously. But the big thing is, I've rewatched the game, I was rethinking about the highlights and everything, and I didn't clock in at first, but I was thinking about this, that we finished game with a back line of Partey, White, Kivior and Skelly, with having Manieri on, with having obviously some other players on. And the conclusion I made, I know it could be a bit weird one, but Liverpool actually are not that good. Arsenal actually are better than Liverpool. Because you could argue that if you exclude Jota, obviously, Liverpool had pretty much every single attacking player they could imagine they could be available to them. And let's be real, against a backline of Partey, White, Kivior and Skelly, they should be winning. Especially since after Salah scored, there was about, I think, 17, 18 minutes still to go. They should have pretty much taken it to the sword. They should have put us to the sword, but they didn't. They almost got no chance whatsoever. And that kind of got me to this conclusion that Arsenal actually are not that bad per se, but at the same time, it doesn't mask the fact that our bench is just not good enough. In general, that our bench is just not good enough, because the reason why we conceded the goal, the second one, is basically because of our bench. Because we had to sub on players where basically the drop off from the main guys, it's literally like Earth to the moon. The gap is that big. And you could see that in certain situations, certain aspects in game, when we were holding onto the ball, we were kicking it out when we were defending. Because you see these situations with Gabriel and Saliba, for example, and then you see those situations with White, with Kivior and players like that, and it's legitimately day to night at times. And I think that was one of the main reasons why, arguably, we drew the game, because we could have won it. And Liverpool partially are also quite lucky that they have world-class level players like Salah, like Van Dijk, because if they didn't have either one of those, they would stand kind of no chance against Arsenal, let's be real. Even with a depleted Arsenal squad, they would stand no chance. So that is the big part. I think that is the big thing about this that I have taken away from this game. Obviously, I'm still not convinced that we're going to win the league. I think we will finish top 4 without shadow of a doubt. We will finish, I would assume, top 3 based on how everything is going, especially that after international break, all the indications are showing that our main squad will be back. Odegaard will be back. Gabriel might actually be also back. We're going to speak about Gabriel in a second. Timber, of course, and everyone should be fully fit, unless in the international break, again, something major happens and someone gets injured. So, yeah, that is quite interesting. But overall, for today on the schedule, we have Mikel Arteta's interview post-game. We have player ratings, we have some discussions to make about our injuries and our bench to talk about. So we're going to talk about all that. If you're new around here, of course, don't forget to smash thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell, aiming to get 300 subscribers before the end of the year. We are legitimately this close, I think 3 subscribers away. They're so close, it feels like so far. But yeah, for today, let's kick it into the gear. Big up coach in the chat, happy with the result. And the performance, oh for sure. Arguably, you could say the performance in the first half was immaculate. Obviously, the one goal we conceded wasn't great, but at the same time, the goal we conceded, the way we played in the first half was fantastic. Arteta's promised us that we're gonna go for it, we're gonna shoot, we're gonna score, we're gonna do all the wild things, and we did it. We actually did it. The only issue is the second half performance. We decided to sit back than rather to try and go for the third goal. That for me was the biggest issue. Obviously, getting Gabriel injured, not a great thing. Timber, but doesn't look that bad, obviously. But it's looking very promising after international break, because it looks like Odegaard is going to be back on the grass in training in a week. Gabriel, we will see. The tests are gonna get done tomorrow, but there are obviously some rumors about this already. We're gonna speak about that. So overall, if you think about it, it's kind of looking a bit up. However, until the international break, we need to get through Newcastle, Preston. Well, Preston is what it is, but Newcastle away, Inter away, and Chelsea away. Because Chelsea under Maresca are playing actually quite fantastic football at the moment. They have clicked into gear, and it's actually kind of nuts. So I'm a bit worried about that. Newcastle, they have fallen off, so I wouldn't say I'm not worried, but at the same time, we should be winning against them. Let's be real for sure. So that will be very, very interesting. Big up Saad. Big up Saad, my guy. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. And listen to him. Like and subscribe. And if you don't know who Saad is, top guy, top gooner. And not in that sense, let's just say it, but the top guy. So if you're new around here, definitely go and subscribe, like the thing, go to subscribe to his channel. Fantastic guy, and fantastic Arsenal fan. But what we're gonna kick things off for today is Mikel Arteta's press conference. Holy crap, press conference after the Liverpool game. Should be a very interesting read. Let's just put it that way. Should be a pretty interesting read. I don't think we sat back. We were controlling, passing the ball around, just like the first half, the pass around and the back line to draw them out. That's how White chipped in the through ball. Yeah, that kind of worked, but there was a point, especially after Gabriel's injury, we definitely sat back. And with the defensive line we had, we kind of invited more pressure. And with the fact that it's already like a makeshift defense, which hasn't played together pretty much whatsoever, it tends to do more harm than good, and in the end we conceded because of that. You could see that Kiwior just went back to Spezia when Trent played the ball over the top. Obviously, it's a bit of a naivety of Skelly stepping up and everything, and then White had to track back and try and cover that. I generally believe that if we had Gabriel there and player like him especially there, we kind of can avoid that goal. Let's be real. Also, during the second half, you could see that there was something off a bit, because Bukayo Saka arguably was the only player who was actually trying to hold on to the ball more, try to slow down the tempo, pass the ball around and do stuff like that. The rest of the players tried to hoof it up, tried to quickly get rid of the ball, quickly hit in a counter. Obviously rightfully so, because they were pushing hard. Yet at the same time, kind of sometimes you need to slow down. And I think Saka was doing that brilliantly. Just wish some more players did that at times. It generally feels that way. Hard game to come into, especially in defense, and be up speed. To be honest, hard game to come up to speed. With Kiwior and everything, I don't even want to talk about it. Bottom line, not good enough. Let's just put it that way. Yes, he can have good game here or there, but at the same time, let's be real. The most of the times when we have conceded, many on certain occasions, he has been somewhere around, if not in the epicenter of that situation, when he has played especially center back and sometimes at left back. Obviously, he has been very decent at left back, but let's just say 6 good games doesn't counter the games when he has been poor. Of course, it's very hard to get a consistent game, a consistent form when you don't play regularly, but at the same time, it's not an excuse. If you want to have a proper rotation, you have to use them more consistently. If you want to have players stepping in if something happens, you have to rotate them more consistently. And that just shows that our bench in a way is just a bit not good enough. Anyhow, Mikel Arteta's press conference after Liverpool game. Let's see what he had to say. On the context of the draw after being ahead twice, I'm very proud of the team, especially with the situation that we are going through at the moment and probably cannot imagine. But overall, I think especially first half, it was total domination. And I fully agree with Mikel Arteta there. Fully agree. We were really, really good, really sharp, really efficient, really determined, and the result should have been bigger. 100% agree with Mikel Arteta on that one. Without conceding anything, basically we gave 2 goals away, which is a disappointing part. And that is the big case. Because against teams who have these world-class level players, Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, it legitimately takes only one chance and they're gonna bang it in. 99% of the time. For Arsenal, it's a bit of an issue because we don't have that clinical player up top, and we need to like 4 or 5 chances. That's why we try to create a bit more. And that is also a big thing in that regard. Because Havertz had about 3-4 chances he could have tried at least to get a shot on target or to score from, and he just whiffed everyone. Havertz, to be honest, no matter the space invasions and everything, for me was the worst player on the pitch. We're going to get into player ratings in a second, of course, after the interview. So it is what it is, I guess, at the end of the day. 2-2, not a great result for Liverpool. In a way it is, either way it's not. For Arsenal as well, it's a very poor result, at the same time it's a decent result. Neither team basically came out on top, and that basically is the advantage Manchester City. And as we all know, Manchester City clicks into gear after Christmas, and they are already on top of the table. Obviously, it's just few points at the moment, but if they manage to keep it that way until Christmas, when they start to click into gear, when the cogs in the wheel start to turn properly, it could be a very quick season over after the basically in the beginning of next year. Obviously, we don't know how 115 will affect everything, and we shouldn't rely on that. We just should play the football and just let the suits do the right things and everything. So we'll see how that's gonna go, obviously, at the end of the day. On whether a goal was unfairly ruled out, and that is regarding the Havertz goal, Jesus' goal, which Havertz chipped the keeper and everything, trying to kind of kick the ball off the line and everything, and he prefers not to comment, and rightly so. It was a bit of a questionable decision, and it has been confirmed that the play was stopped, not because of the handball, which was a bit there from Kai Havertz, but it was because of Kivior's headed ball, where he just came out of nowhere and just flew in and headed the ball to our player, and that's why the game was stopped in that regard. And that is actually quite annoying, because technically you should be playing. The referee should allow the game to see itself out, to see the moment out, and then see what's gonna happen from that. Maybe then review it with VAR and everything. But in this instance, he instantly pretty much stopped the game. Obviously, it was foul in another direction in his point of view. So he could have just let the game roll and see it after that, in my opinion. But it is a bit of an annoying one, because Arsenal, if that goes in and it's allowed as a goal, Arsenal win the game no matter what. On the impact of changes to the backline, I don't know. It's what it is. We had 5 injuries in the backline, which was nuts. We had 7 players out, and 5 of them were our defenders. A position which, in the beginning of the season, looked the most solid, the most strong, the most safe in terms of injuries and depth. At the moment, is the one we are worried a bit the most in that regard, because one suspension, few injuries, and already we have to make a makeshift type of defense. We have to adapt to it. We'll continue to adapt. It's the situation what we have. Support them, praise players, blah blah blah, courage and everything. On his feeling about the result after injuries, really disappointed we haven't won the game today. To be honest, I was as well. And it's not due to the fact that we sat back, because I am banging the drum that in the second half we didn't go for it. But in the first half, we should have put them to the sword. We should have scored 3-4 goals, and game should have been done then. Genuinely, game should have been done by then. But we just didn't manage to do it. We genuinely didn't manage to do it. I think we were better, but especially because in 2 things that we had to do a lot better and we didn't, and some other stuff, obviously. Of course, defending could have been in certain instances a bit better, and attack also in some instances could have been a bit better. But it is what it is, obviously, at the end of the day. On Saka's consistency, it's his consistency, and the fact that he's very young, as well as he's been very lucky with injuries, so hopefully he continued to be there. But after a few weeks off, the way he played and competed was exceptional. I think we had some big individual performances in the team. And to be honest, I fully agree with that. I would say Bukayo Saka is the man of the match from yesterday's game. He arguably had the best game in recent times for Arsenal, because he was the guy who had basically Robertson getting cooked left, right and center. Saka was cooking on Edo's barbecue, and the thing he was cooking was Robertson. Throughout the whole first half, that was fantastic to see. The drop of the shoulder, smashed it in near corner and everything. He looked always on the front foot. Obviously, changing a bit of tactics in the second half kind of slowed him down, but in my opinion, Saka was immaculate pretty much. He is man of the match for me. Partey was fantastic yesterday, playing as a right back with no pace, but he dealt very well with Diaz and Gakpo and everyone else. Who else was very good? Gabriel, until the injury, was sublime as well, to be honest. Rest of the players, there were some bits and bobs here or there which could have been better. White was actually pretty decent. Obviously, when he conceded the second goal, he couldn't have done much. It was pretty much either he commits to the winger, or he commits to Salah, one or the other. It's either or. It was a lose-lose situation either way. So it was what it was. On an incident with Havertz and Van Dijk, I haven't seen the replay. That was pretty much the place where I think Van Dijk stepped on Havertz, something like that. Yeah, I actually didn't pay much attention to it, and I don't want to get into it as well, because to be honest, in this day and age where cameras are everywhere and you shouldn't get away with anything, many times people get away with with very insane stuff on the football pitch. Merino actually was good. I'm fully giving credit him for that. Great goal, great movement. The lack of pace didn't show. It looks like he's settling into the team. I think the goal also will help his confidence and him settling into the team as a whole. And I think he could start doing it properly. And also I believe that Rice also had a very good game. Yes, there were some issues here or there, a bit of smaller ones, but overall he had also a very good game. And Rice as a 6 was perfect. I think Rice should be playing as a 6, and Merino next to him, that was actually working. Now that doesn't mean Partey should be dropped or something, but at right back it's not the place where I would like to see Thomas Partey to play. However, when we play in the midfield, and if we want to play Rice and Partey and Merino, it feels like a bit unbalanced, sorry. So once Odegaard comes back, it will be very interesting how Arteta manages it. It will be very, very interesting how Arteta manages the midfield. Because either it could be Rice, Merino, Odegaard, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Partey, Merino, Odegaard. We will have to wait and see all of that in those terms. On why Gabriel was taken off, I don't know, but he could not run. That's what he was said straight away, so I don't know what happened. I don't know if the knee joint or the ankle, they are assessing him right now. And we're gonna speak on Gabriel in a second, also after the interview. But it looks like he's getting some extended tests tomorrow, and then we will know the majority and the depth of his injury. It looks like it could be just an MCL, maybe something like that. And obviously MCLs go in 3 grades and everything. If it's just the first grade, it's very good because it's just 1-2 weeks. That's nothing serious. Arsenal can survive that. If it's grade 2, that's 3 to 5-6 weeks. If it's tier 3 injury, then it's a yikes. Obviously, it's the worst one. So we'll see how that goes. But obviously, at the moment, let's just hope for the best, because with the certain injuries, that left-sided center back spot is a bit of a yikes one. I'm not gonna lie. On decisions by officials today, I prefer not to comment, and to be honest, if Arteta did, he would get some fines and match bans 100%, because the referee yesterday, and it's not an excuse, but overall he was shocking. I didn't like how he did the refereeing, how he did certain things, how he didn't see half the fouls. It felt like the way how he did things. So he wasn't controlling the game. He was doing some weird juju there, which kind of made no sense, because certain fouls that should be called when Nunez runs through Saka's back pretty much like a bullet train, it's a no foul, but then someone else like Rice just breathes just like that on Zobozlai, and all of a sudden it's pretty much a yellow card. It's a very hard foul. So it was a weird one to watch, I'm not gonna lie. On if Arsenal are experiencing bad luck, no, this is football. Circumstances are going to make us bear, and they're making us bear. Obviously, you cannot just... Basically, in football, you either win or you lose. That's pretty much stating obvious. Even a draw in a certain level is a win, depending on the team you play. I'm not talking about Arsenal, but in general. And in a certain level, it's a loss, depending obviously for what club you play for. But at the end of the day, for me, circumstances, again, are circumstantial, as they say. If you are good enough, you should be able to get the job done no matter what. And if the referee wants to give you 10 yellows, you should do the best in your abilities not to give him a chance to give you that yellow. And everything. You should make your own game, not let referees or someone else dictate how you play. Let's be real. So if we were able to be where we are and competing the manner that we do, I see them have no doubts. 3 days before, I told you we were going to be flying on Sunday, and we started flying, and we were the better team by far. And first half, 100%. We were flying, and we should have just taken our chances and just ended the game in the first half, because the opportunities were there. If we had maybe instead of Havertz more just a clinical striker, as we were all screaming in summer window, I think we could have done it, and we would have done it. Let's be real. The chances Havertz had and everything leads to be desired more. And it feels like also Havertz is that it's a very streaky player as well. He can score about 4 or 5 games, 6 games, 7 games in a row. Then he will go missing for a few games and he's gonna start scoring again. Obviously, it's also kind of coincides and is due to the fact that Odegaard is out and he is asked to play a bit of a different role than he's used to in terms of number 9 and that number 10 rotational drifting role and everything in spaces and all that stuff. So I think it kind of is also handcuffing him and clamping him up in terms of maybe getting some scoring opportunities. But overall, yeah, yesterday was, I would say this season, I don't want to say the worst game, but I would say one of the worst games this season overall. That's definitely what I would put it out there. On whether the team ran out of steam in the second half, I'm more disappointed and frustrated about the one thing that we didn't do, that we had to do in the second half. The physical part will look at the stats. The stats I know are dropping. We had better stats in the second half in many games, especially individually. Some positives like Mikel, for example, hasn't played the 90 minutes for 5 months probably, since the Euros or whatever. So a lot of positive things to take and keep on going. And to be honest, yeah, it's a draw. Obviously, it's a bit disappointing. But at the same time, you need to look at the positives. You genuinely need to look at the positives. So looking that someone gets a full 90, someone starts to fit into the team more. You can see him kind of developing some connections with certain players, making certain runs, feeling them out. No, did he? But feeling how they make runs, kind of recognizing that and making... Oh, my nose, damn. And making them more comfortable with each other. It's definitely a big plus either way. I'm not gonna lie. It's a big, big, big plus. On being 5 points off the top of the table... Well, it's only 9 games, but 9 games, but still it's already, and it's Man City. It's not like we are 5 points behind, I don't know, not Leicester, but we are not 5 points behind Aston Villa, who are inevitably about to drop points. City is a completely different animal, a juggernaut. Well, you don't want to be in that position, you want to be 5 points ahead, obviously, but we were 8 points even ahead, and that didn't work for us as well. But this is where we are, and again, the team, it's alive, the team wants it. To be honest, we are alive. The title race, pretty much at the moment, nobody is a quote-unquote favorite based on this season. I would say, yes, obviously, on paper, Man City are favorites. Let's get it out of the way instantly. But based on these first 9 games of the season, it's pretty much in the balance. Because numerous games for each of the teams could have gone either way. Numerous games. And at the moment, the teams are not in the best of forms, none of them. Some have injuries, like Arsenal, like Man City. Some are just basically hitting the stride quite early, and we will see what's going to happen with Slot's team in the future. Because, again, one of the biggest issues for Liverpool is the bench, because it's not good enough and not deep enough. Similar like Arsenal in a way. The thing is, though, our bench has stepped up. The question is, can Liverpool's bench kind of step up when they're going to get called upon inevitably? But yeah, at the moment, I think the title race is kind of in a balance. Yes, Man City are 5 points clear from Arsenal. Arsenal are 3rd in the league and all that stuff. However, I would say at the moment, it's still in the balance. Once we get into Boxing Day, Christmas, when we get early next year, then we, I think, gonna very slowly start to see where basically everything lies and where everything is hidden, how everything is developing and going. And at the moment, obviously, I can say the title race is over, that I don't believe Arsenal will win the league, which at the moment, I don't want to say we won't win the league, but at the moment I have very hard believing that we that we're gonna win the league, mostly because of our bench. If we can avoid injuries and everything, there is a chance, but I think if something again major happens, and it comes to a very rough time, when it comes at a very crucial time, it will do very much harm for Arsenal at the moment. And if we don't kind of try and rectify that in January, it could generally be a very long second part of the season with a very, very negative outcome in terms of trophies and cups in that sense, at least in my opinion. Big up Nathan in the chat. Big up. City played average to Saints. They will drop points, especially because of the extra hectic schedule. Let's not panic. We need to stay 6 points or less behind. To be honest, yeah, with City, the big thing is the fact that they will drop points. There's no argument about that. The question is, how will they drop points? Whether it's gonna be draws or it's gonna be losses. Because from where Arsenal and Liverpool are standing, every single draw is pretty much like a loss when you compare it to City. For City, a draw is nothing big, unless they get like 10 of them, pretty much. But overall, for City, a draw is not that big of a deal because they have the know-how. They always click into gear in the second part of the season. They have done it now like 6-7 years in a row. It's nothing new for them in that regard. However, saying that, last year City lost only 3 games. They had 7 draws. Arsenal lost 5 games and had 5 draws. So 2 draws difference, and that was the title decider pretty much at the end of the season. So for Arsenal, we need to win as much as we can. We can only win what we are playing up against. City, let them do their thing, because no matter what, unless we give our best and unless we basically push them till the end of the season, unless we do that, there will be lots of questions to be asked still. It takes 2 good weekends to turn the point swing. More than 6 is the thing is, you say more than 6 is a problem, but we are already at 5, and that is the worrying bit. Obviously, one of the biggest things we have to take in context in that regard is that Arsenal have the roughest and toughest schedule of all the big 6 sides in the first half of the season, because we play most of the top 6 sides away. We have quite a bit of away games. Obviously, it's kind of balanced by the fact that we play the smaller teams, obviously at home a bit more, but at the same time, most of the top 6 sides, most of the teams we struggle the most against many times from the big teams, we play away. That is obviously you have to take in context, because Liverpool has had the easiest start of the season. As Man City has had a mediocre start of the season. Arsenal has had the hardest of all 3 of them. Let's put it that way. That's the way I see it, at least. Who's putting faith in Spurs? Dude, who's putting faith in Spurs? They cannot even beat Crystal Palace, where Glasner is on his last legs. Yeah, January is the crucial bit. What we will do in January more or less could determine what's going to happen in the second part of the season. Not even more or less, it's going to determine. We need a big January. 2 draws for City and 2 wins for us, and we're back in it. And City plays Spurs this week, and they will lose. They will lose. Ange Ball is exactly what beats City because of the press. Dude. I know what you're trying to insinuate and do here and say here, but I have no belief in Spurs. None whatsoever. No belief in Spurs whatsoever. We are in trouble unless we can beat both Newcastle and Chelsea away. That's the thing. Until the next international break, which is in, 3 weeks? 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we need to win all of the games. We need to win against Preston, obviously, who we're going to play on Wednesday. We need to beat Preston to go further in the cup, which means Arteta will rotate. How much depends. We need to beat Newcastle. Newcastle at the moment are falling a bit, and that is playing in our hands in that regard. They're not looking that great. Definitely a shadow of themselves, what they were last year. Inter away is the rough one. And if we want to qualify automatically as a top 8 in Champions League, that game is a must-win game. Because for me at the moment, the way I see our Champions League games, for some weird goddamn reason, and let me know how you feel about this, playing Lisbon away after the international break, in my opinion, will be harder than playing Inter away. As weird as it sounds, and as mad as it sounds, that's how I feel about this. For me, Sporting Lisbon away game will be harder than Inter Milan game. Solely just based on the fact how we have done previously against Portuguese sides. For the last 2 years, the way we have played against Lisbon Sporting, the way we have played against Porto, it's nothing to be excited about when we're gonna go there. Against Inter, we have a chance. 100%. Obviously against Sporting, we also have a chance, but I think it's a lesser of a chance than if we had to play a different team. That's how I feel it. Klopp played the opposite to the Pep, that high press. Yeah, he did, but at the same time, it sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. And the thing is, the way Spurs play, I just don't think they have it, basically. Klopp and Salah, VVD and Alisson, and has Johnson. Alisson won't be back though, will he? He's gonna be back after international break, no? Inter yesterday 4-4 against Juventus. That was a nuts game. That was an insane game. Obviously, I think they play midweek though as well. I think no, it will be very interesting to see. Yeah, Inter play midweek. They play away against Monza or someone. I don't remember. Empoli, I think. Maybe Empoli it was. Yeah, Gyökeres edition. That will be nuts. Gyökeres edition against Arsenal will be. And I hope we have Saliba and Gabriel available for that game, just to see how we can handle him as well. Yeah, I have no hope for Sporting game. For me, the Sporting game, yeah, is hard. In my opinion, will be harder than Inter game. Based on how we played against Sporting 2 years ago, we got lucky, we drew away, and then it had to go to penalties, and that wasn't pleasant at all. Last year against Porto, a 40-year-old Pepe clamped our whole attack, and, well, we didn't have a shot on target until like 85th, 86th minute away, so that wasn't great watch. Away games in Champions League for Arsenal are a big, big issue. And in Europe in general, under Mikel Arteta, our away form leaves to be desired hell of a lot more. Hell a lot more. And that is a big, big worry. Milan and Napoli tomorrow night. Yeah, Milan versus Napoli should be a nice one to watch. When I think of Sporting, I remember them doing dancing sessions on our carpet after KOing us. Yeah. Arteta definitely has a specific file on his computer, saved it, so he's gonna play it in the coaching sessions before that game, 100%. Just like with Brentford, nice kick around with the boys and all that stuff from Tony and everything. He has saved receipts for every single team that has basically tried to banter us, 100%. I still believe he plays before Newcastle game the video about Bruno Guimaraes where he dissed us and everything. I have kept this in my stomach for 2 years, dude. It's time for revenge. The question is, can we do the revenge? Especially since it's an away game and they have Gyökeres now. I want to see how Gyökeres does against us. Because if we have Saliba and Gabriel, it will be very interesting. Because they both together have pocketed Haaland pretty much every single game we have played against City. The question is, how are we going to do against Lisbon Sporting? How are we going to do a more technical Haaland? Obviously, I would argue Gyökeres doesn't have the finishing ability of Haaland, right? Yet at the same time, he has more technical ability than Haaland, so that will be very, very interesting. Maybe Amorim is at United by the Sporting game. This is a very mixed thing, by the way. I am reading some reports that he cannot be, by the way. He cannot be because no manager mid-season is gonna go to other club unless he's a free agent. Have we even seen that? Like, imagine, at the moment, Pep gets sacked tomorrow, Arteta goes to City. We're not gonna see that. Like, Real sack Ancelotti and they just go, like, give me Inzaghi. They're not gonna do that. I don't think that's even possible. Like, mid-season. Like, not in transfer window. I strongly believe that for Man United, they will either keep Van Nistelrooy till the end of the season and chalk the season off, which I don't think they will do, but it's a possibility, or they will sign some of the free agents, either Xavi, which is very unlikely, but still there's rumors about that, or what's its face, or Southgate or someone like that. Van Nistelrooy, the best manager for United right now till the end of the season, and based on how he gets job done. Yeah, Southgate for United. That should be a trending hashtag on X 100%. Southgate for United. There's something like that. Manager for United right now to the end of the season, based how he gets. That could be the case, but I don't want to. I'm not a United fan. I'm not gonna get into that. Anyways, back to Arteta's interview. Well, Southgate will revolutionize United. Anyways, back to interview. By the way, I read all of these as well as it's. Oh, that's the last two. On whether he was told why the goal was disallowed. No, nothing. I'm sure we'll have some clarity on later afterwards. I don't know. It's been cleared now, and it's a very ridiculous decision, by the way. On the one thing that the team didn't do today, I keep that to myself. Well, let's be real. There's pretty much one option. Didn't score enough goals. Like, if you don't win, it means you haven't scored enough goals. You could argue that, obviously. Okay, here we go. Some injury updates and stuff like that. In other news, Bukayo Saka has finished 21st in Ballon d'Or rankings, Saliba has finished 24th in Ballon d'Or rankings, Declan Rice has finished 26th in Ballon d'Or rankings. Okay, now we move on. Gabriel Jesus, after the game, received a yellow card, which is kind of weird. I didn't even notice that, I'm not gonna lie. After full-time whistle for arguing Arsenal should have had a corner as the final kick of the game. He was correct and still gets punished. Like, that last kick, when he blew the final whistle, it was a corner. Let's get it straight. The thing is, though, if you get upset that sometimes referees get these decisions wrong, it's never gonna be good if you start to yell at the ref. And the second of all, we should have done our job on the pitch in the 90 minutes. Well, to be honest, 105 minutes based on added time. Not scream and cry after the game that one random corner hasn't been given when it should have been. We should have done the job on the pitch in the first half, in the second half, whenever they should have seen useful and they should have attempted it, basically. Why is he screaming for a random corner after the game is over? That for me just low-key screams desperation. Obviously, it also shows that Gabriel Jesus wants to win. It shows the fight and everything. Yet at the same time, if you look from the other side of the lens, partially it screams desperation as well. The fact that we couldn't get the job done in the full 90, the fact that he missed a chance himself, and he I think Jesus is also, the fact that he's missing quite a bit of chances and he cannot score a goal, even against Bolton and other teams, I think is kind of weighing very heavy on his shoulders, and it's starting to come out in a way as well. Kind of feels that way a bit, I'm not gonna lie. People talk about the penalty on Martinelli, but no one mentions Havertz missing a sitter in the same action. Havertz had about 3-4 chances to score. In the first half, he had 3-4 chances. He took a heavy touch, where more chances than not, players like Vlahovic, Gyökeres and Tap don't take a touch. They just take a half volley of balance and see what happens. Just take a shot. Because when you're coming full speed at the ball, in those situations, taking a proper touch, especially if you're 6'4", despite the quality you have, never gonna end well. The ball hit his face when Konate mistimed his jump. He wasn't ready. He had a header as well, which I think was straight at Kelleher as well. He had a few chances to score. He just didn't take it. If we cleared Salah like how Martinelli was wiped out by two players, we have seen a pen. Well, I'm not getting into these conspiracies and talks like this. Like, it is what it is. You kind of have to accept the fact that PGMOL are useless. They work hand in hand with FA. They get paid by the FA and all that stuff, basically. On top of that, there will be no consistency in refereeing. Every single decision will be questioned because every single game week, every weekend, there will be point per point, copy-paste scenarios, and you will see the same amount of outcomes. You will see four times same scenario, and you will see 4 different outcomes. Sometimes it will be a foul, sometimes it will be no foul, sometimes it will be a foul with a yellow, in other times foul with a red. It can be either or. And that is one of the most annoying things. There is legit no consistency in refereeing. Obviously, and people say, oh, look at European refs. How comes after European games, obviously there are some bad games and questionable decisions, but how comes in Champions League, nobody almost ever talks about refereeing? Almost ever. Yes, there are questionable decisions, they get called out. But you don't see every single goddamn game 2-3 situations get called out, screen capped, put a small video on Twitter, X, whatever, and people discuss this. How comes you never see that? Never ever you see that. It's actually kind of wild. And this is the best league in the world with the worst referees in the world. Sadly, it's not a level playing field, and Arsenal are ref different. To be honest, lots of teams are ref differently. On certain instances, on certain levels. It's like that meme when you say VAR checking, and then you can see like 4 screens as you see on Twitter, and then one is VAR, then you see checking, then you see another picture of the badge of the team that's getting checked, and then you see a decision. It's basically based on the badge who you're checking for. Arsenal differently goes back to the time. Yeah, it goes back to George Graham, to Arsene Wenger. It goes back to the days when we basically started to treat football differently. We changed the football. We were the first team that yielded all Afro-American players, all non-English players. Wenger stopped them drinking, implemented diets, the way Graham held Arsenal and how he kind of carried them as well as a manager and everything. And we all the time get hate for that. Because we stand out. We do something unorthodox. Wenger was hated. Nobody from Japan, basically, as in Premier League terms and eyes, comes to Premier League, takes over Arsenal in year and a half, destroys Sir Alex Ferguson, wins leagues, wins titles, trophies, everything. And everyone's just dumbfounded what is going on. Like, pretty much nobody from Japan comes to Premier League and destroys it, pretty much. Signs bargain deals of Bergkamp, Henry, Vieira, and everyone. Signs players out of nowhere. They work like a charm and they demolish everyone, pretty much. While playing a very non-English type of football, pretty much. Because English football, we all know, used to be just 4-4-2, and you cross the ball from wings and everything, header, someone shin in the shin, someone studs up, gets yeeted in the knee and all that stuff. Arsenal, yes, they did that as well on occasion, but they played completely different type of football, which until for a certain time, it wasn't very long, but for a certain time, nobody was prepared for. Many teams didn't know how to defend that. And that basically changed football. Wenger changed football in Premier League quite a bit in that regard. And instantly teams started to look at it, trying to shift everything. But nobody liked it. Because, again, nobody comes in, signs nobody players, does very non-English things, and absolutely destroys everyone that's basically just yeets over their values in a way. It is different a bit in that regard. Wimbledon have scrapped line judges in the favor of AI. Maybe we need something similar for VAR. To be honest, if I'm not mistaken, from next season there will be semi-automated offside rules, like basically in Champions League, Euros, and World Cup, where there's the 3D offside technologies. Same goes also in La Liga, they have that and everything. La Liga, to be honest, is incredible to watch, and on top of that, they have 4K cameras, 3D defensive offside technologies and everything. It's actually kind of mad what they have. Only reason I think Premier League doesn't have it this season is because they cannot put enough cameras in the angles they need to put them, so they can implement those instances, I think. I think that was the reasoning, if I'm not mistaken. Something weird like that. Total football, like, no, yeah, Johan Cruyff and everything. Total football, gegenpress and all that stuff. From after now break. Wait, what? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? El Clasico, biggest game and nobody talking. Exactly. You saw how quickly VAR decisions get decided in La Liga, for example. Legitimately. 5 to 20 seconds. The simplest decisions, 5 to 20 seconds. Offsides, fouls, everything. 5 to 20 seconds. No debates, no nothing. If it's a bit scrappier one, okay, it can take a minute. In Premier League, to even decide one foul, it takes almost 5 minutes. Like, semi-automated offsides from up. Really? They are from really? We will have 3D proper semi-automated in every stadium? In all the stadiums, right? It will be everywhere. It's not like it's gonna be in the like 10 biggest stadiums, and then when you go to like, I don't know, Goodison Park and everything, there will have nothing of that. It should be a challenge system that the captain and manager decides 3 per. Oh, dude, that would be nuts. It's like an NBA. It's like an NBA. You have the coach's decision, and same goes for NHL. When there's one questionable decision and you can challenge it. If you get it right, Call gets overturned, you keep the chance to challenge again and everything. If you get it wrong, you lose the chance to challenge again, and in NBA, your opposing team gets a free throw or something like that and gets the possession. And in other instance, in NHL, I think it's 2 minutes for delaying the game, something like that. If we had a challenge system, Jesus could have petitioned Arteta to pretty much. To be honest, if that was the case, the game would last about 10 hours. Because the way referees are in the Premier League, I can guarantee you almost every single decision would get questioned. That is more or less a 50-50 one. And let's be real, the way they make those decisions, if they get challenged, bigger chances than not, the team that is challenging is going to win it, first of all. And second of all, if you want to do that, you need independent judges, independent referees from somewhere else that's not from England. Because you cannot have coaches challenge to a VAR decision to be overdone, to be discussed by the same VAR and English judges that are basically sitting in the booth and doing them. You need something completely different, completely separate unit that is not from England. You need completely different view, perspective and ideas that come from there. Because you cannot have PGMOL referees getting checked by PGMOL referees, and then you get coaches challenge, and that VAR check gets checked by other PGMOL referees. You need something else there. You need someone completely separate entity to do that, basically. You need some neutral decision making there, basically. Like a review in cricket, yeah, yes, but only you have 3 challenges per game. The thing is, the question is, if that challenge is successful, do you keep the challenge? Or it just goes? Or it just goes and you basically get the possession of the ball, either it's a corner or a foul or an offside or a penalty or whatever. That is the big question. If you don't keep it, then yeah, but if you keep it, then it's gonna be hell enough. 1 challenge per game like cricket. There's no official report, but if not November break, then in winter, whatever that means. Winter 2024, winter 2025, 26? Yes, you keep it if this. That's the thing. The way these refs make decisions wrong many times, bigger chances than not they will get the call overturned in the favor of the challenger, and they're gonna keep the challenge. Which means these challenges will stay. And they can use it again and again and again. And if they get it, as long as they get it correctly, it's pretty much an infinite challenge glitch in a way. And if you want to make those challenges again, I generally believe you would need a separate judge room, separate entity that is as far from UK referees as possible. Because you cannot have like Michael Oliver judging Taylor's decision. And then you have someone like Scott something rather, whatever his name was, trying to overview the challenge from Oliver and everyone and Taylor. You cannot have that. You need someone else. You need completely someone different from that. Another thing is to introduce a stop clock. No more extra time rubbish. To be honest, in football, if they try to play like clean time like they do in NBA or NHL, when the ball, as soon as the ball goes out of play, they stop the clock, it would be kind of nuts. It would be kind of nuts. It would be kind of nuts if you kind of think about it in that regard, because then there would be no more time wasting, because there would be no time to waste. There would be no time wasting. There would be no nothing. However, if you stop the clock every single time the ball goes out of play, the game legit will last 5-6 hours. And nobody will do that, especially if it's like an 8 p.m. kickoff and the game goes till 2 a.m. Who the hell is gonna watch that? It's never gonna work in that instance. Never, ever, ever, ever. Never, ever. Because you have a 90-minute game that lasts nearly 2 hours with intermissions and everything, right? And you can see that the ball is in play for about 50 minutes, for example. And that already is 2 hours. It's only 50 minutes in the game, it's 2 hours. Imagine now it's 90 minutes. Then it would be 4 hours. Nobody's gonna sit through that. That's pretty much torture, as no matter how much you love football. I like it. Let's make sure the refs does his job. It could, definitely could. Definitely they cannot play full 90. They have to play about 65 to 70 games a year. the big dogs, the main guys. And imagine you play all those games full 90 minutes of clean time with a stop clock. Never gonna work. Exactly. Average time of ball in play is like 55 minutes. Exactly. The average time is 55 minutes, which means 35 minutes of the game, of the time, the ball is out of play. It's getting time wasted and everything that. We should be able to sub the ref. It doesn't matter, they all from the same place, so. As they say, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, you know? But rugby is a bit different. Football, you cannot compare like different sports. You cannot do that. You cannot have clean time in football. It's already a torture for footballers to play 60 games a season overall, if not more, from bell to bell for full 90 if you are one of the main guys. Already is torture, and that is only the with time wasting and everything. It's already about 105, 110 minutes a game. But if you play the clean time, yes, technically on paper, you would play only 90 minutes, not 110 minutes. Yet at the same time, it would be hell on earth. You cannot do that. Yeah, in rugby, they just stop the clock and the ball is out of play. But in football, you cannot do that. In football, it wouldn't work. You have 45-minute half, right? Imagine you have 45 minutes clean time, okay? Now add at least 20 minutes when the ball is out of play. At least 20 minutes when the ball is out of play, which comes up to 1 hour and 5 minutes overall already. At least. Not to mention if there's VAR checks, if there's injuries and everything. Technically it could work, but it won't work. It's way too much for a professional footballer to play full 90 minutes and then and to do that about 60 times a year. It's not too much. In that regard, I don't think it's gonna work. I generally don't think it's gonna work. Big up. Anyways, where were we? Update on Odegaard. Here we go. Finally, we have some good news about Odegaard. According to Sam Mogbell, Martin Odegaard is scheduled to return to training on the grass this week. So this week he's returning to the not team training, but the grass training. While Gabriel and Timber aren't expected to have suffered any serious injuries against Liverpool yesterday. So that is the hope that there are no big injuries. Timber was a precaution because he was cramping up. Gabriel, that is the big question mark at the moment. But the big news is Odegaard is back on grass. Sounds weird, don't quote me. And speaking about, according to Sam Mogbell as well, early indications show that Gabriel Magalhaes' injury will not be long term. The Brazilian will undergo a definitive scan on Tuesday, so tomorrow, to confirm the extent of his injury. There are certain speculations, right? There are certain speculations about this going on. One of the biggest ones is this. If we can pause this, right? It's from FPL Physio Injury Analysis. As I don't know how accurate he is and everything, who knows? But Gabriel has left the pitch against Liverpool with what seems to be an injury to the MCL. The physios first entered the pitch when seeing the test for the MCL. Gabriel tried to continue, but minutes later he had to come off. Best case, grade 1, 1 to 3 weeks. Best case. If grade 2, it's 2 months almost, basically. Worst case is grade 3, which is quite a big longer period of time. He was able to continue a bit, so my prediction for now is grade 1 or 2. The big thing is, with the adrenaline pumping in the player's veins, pretty much in the system, you kinda can play through injuries until certain point. And you can see that I have done it myself. I have played games with broken feet and everything. I have played that with destroyed ankle and everything. It's adrenaline that keeps you going. But as soon as it starts to set, you kinda gain consciousness, if that makes any sense. You start to feel the pain. It's very hard to walk. As body relaxes, your ankle, your knee, whatever, swells up like a tomato, like a watermelon, pretty much. It's hell on earth. So the big question is whether was he playing for that small period of time just through just sheer adrenaline, or he just legitimately couldn't continue, or he just said, okay, I'm gonna come off. That is the big thing. He's probably out until international break. So basically, international break is in 2 weeks. So basically, he's similar injury like Calafiori, according to this. Yeah, similar like Pepper said, similar like Calafiori. If that is the case, he will be back mid-November. If that is grade 1, by the way. But you never know. That's the big thing. You never know with these type of injuries. That for me is the biggest worry. You never know with these type of injuries what is happening, where it's gonna go, and how it's gonna go. It can be lucky, it can be unlucky, it can be one small tweak which feels like nothing, and then all of a sudden you have a hamstring injury for 2 months, yet it could feel hurt like hell, yet it's just you are out for 2 weeks because something different happened. You never legitimately know fully to the full extent. Hope he's back for Inter. Rice, Odegaard, Merino, midfield party rotation with Merino. Can't wait to see our ideal 11 to play. Will be turbo when they all... Yeah, that is the big hope, that they all are fit at some point and we can see what is happening, how it's happening, and where everyone's gonna play. Because at the moment, with all these injuries, we actually don't know the perfect midfield setup. We don't know. Because Odegaard has been there. While Odegaard was fine, Merino was injured. Odegaard got injured, Merino got recovered, and he can play. So we don't know the perfect midfield for Arsenal at the moment. Obviously, we can speculate whether it's Partey, Merino, Odegaard, Rice, Merino, Odegaard, Rice, Partey, Odegaard, whatever. We can speculate how we want to. But until we see them play, we will never know. At the moment, at least, the way I see it. It's gonna be a long, long question how it's gonna go and where it's gonna go. Zinchenko is not gonna play in the midfield, just putting it out there straight away. Zinchenko, you will never see him in the midfield by the looks of things. Arteta hasn't played him in the midfield pretty much at all, so I don't see why would he start now. I think he's gone in summer as well. Anyhow, quick player ratings. Quick player ratings, and we are signing off. Quick player ratings. So let's see what we can muster up here. Player ratings. David Raya conceded 2 goals. Decent ball distribution. Wasn't too much in doubt. Made some decent saves. Yeah, but the 2 goals is not great. Got a draw at the end, I'm not gonna lie. Saved us. I'm gonna give David Raya a 7. Just a casual 7. Nothing more. I would give him a 6. 6.5 maybe. But I'm gonna round it up to 7. I'm feeling generous for David Raya. Mad. Thomas Partey, to be honest, one of the best performers yesterday. A granddad with one leg playing right back, shuts down Diaz. On one occasion, Diaz could cook him, but overall he didn't do anything much. Gakpo didn't do anything much against him. I would give Partey an 8. I'm giving Thomas Partey an 8. He actually was one of the surprise packages of surprise players of the game yesterday. I'm giving Partey an 8. Solely an 8. I'm giving him a definite 8. He actually was very, very good. Yeah. 7.5, 8. Yeah, I'm giving Partey an 8, definitely. Definitely. Benjamin White. Phenomenal pass to Bukayo Saka. I must admit that, over the top. Brilliant ball. Not his natural position, ironically enough, even though we signed him as a center back. In the first season, he played center back, wasn't good. We put him out wide to the right side. So, it's a bit weird when he plays in his technically natural position, but not so much. I'm giving Ben White a 7. I think he deserves a 7. Nothing special, nothing more, nothing less, but Ben White for me gets a 7. Coach gives him an 8. 7 for assist, but mistake for second goal. Was it his mistake? I think it was more... I think it was more Kivior that was the mistake, because he went somewhere nobody should have gone. And at the end, when Kivior overcommitted there, Ben White was left for 2 against 1 at the end of the game against Nunez Salah, I think it was. He was left at 2 against 1. I cannot fault him for too much to that, because ultimately the ball went to Skelly. Skelly a bit under hit the pass, or Martinelli just started the run a bit too soon, so that we lost the ball there. Then the ball over the top. Obviously, Kivior just, I don't know, lost his bearing and everything. But I don't know that's the thing. Yeah, White looked in Salah's eyes and still went to close Nunez. The big question is, in these situations, what would be the smart play? Because you can try and cover Nunez, but Salah is open in front of empty net. If you cover Salah, the hope is that Raya maybe rushes out of goal to close the angle and maybe stops him from scoring and the ball goes out for a corner. I think that could have been the smart option, maybe. Maybe, because Salah dropped back a bit, Nunez also passed it back a bit, and it was legitimately like 2 centimeters away from White's leg to kind of intercept the pass. So it's a bit of a weird one. It is a bit of a weird one. We all know Nunez was not scoring. To be honest, Darwin Noodles, who knows? Should have left Nunez have a shot. To be honest, if he if he solely just basically covered the far corner whilst covering Salah at the same time, and maybe David Raya rushes Nunez, because from the angle he was coming in, the scoring in the near corner was very rough. Either he passes or cuts it back. Could have been a bit differently, obviously. But obviously, I must say, hindsight is a beautiful thing when you think about it, of course. In the heat of the moment, it's a whole different story, let's be real. But yeah, I'm giving him a 7. I'm gonna give him a 7. Gabriel. Came off injured. He came off injured. But Gabriel, for me, he was very good, to be honest, in the first half. He didn't do much in the second because he got injured pretty damn early. I'm gonna give him a 7. I think I'm gonna give Gabriel a 7. If he doesn't get injured and he stays on, we don't concede that second goal. I'm gonna firmly stand on that. The fact that Kivior came on, and it was partially Kivior's fault we conceded, with overcommitting, going I don't know where. I think if we have Gabriel in that situation, we are not conceding that goal. I'm firmly standing on that mountain. I'm gonna die on that hill, whether you agree with me or not. So yeah, Nathan gives a 6, Coach gives an 8. I'm gonna give him a 7, right in the middle. Jurrien Timber came on with cramps, I would assume, at least. Jurrien Timber completely shut down Salah pretty much. That was great. Whenever Salah got past Timber had the pace to track back. Salah tried to cut inside, and Timber always was there waiting for him. He also managed to force Salah back. So overall, yes, attacking wise, it could have maybe done a bit more, I would think so. Defensively, he was very decent. Let's give him a 7. Yeah, and you seem to agree with me. Coach gives a 7 and Nathan gives 7 as well. I'm all for that. I'm giving him a 7. Gabriel Martinelli. Oh, have mercy on my soul. Gabriel Martinelli. Please don't kill me now, but I'm gonna give Martinelli a 5. I'm giving Martinelli a 5. Yeah. I'm giving Martinelli a 5. I know it sounds very wild to say this, but for me the thing is, he was defending, and that was the good part. Going forward, in the first few minutes, he cooked Trent, but as soon as Konate came up against him, in the first 2 instances, Konate just shoved him off the ball like a little bro, just said, go away from me. And since the beginning, pretty much, whenever Konate was up against him, he looked scared. He felt like he's scared. He had no confidence in taking him on whatsoever. Because most of the time he got tackled, he got shoved at the ball, or he got forced to stop and pass it back. And that's why I'm giving him a 5. I'm giving Martinelli a 5 because the way he should be playing, he should play with no fear and try to attack. That for me is a big, big thing. Yeah, but for me, Martinelli should be playing one-on-one as well. And many times when he didn't do that, he was actually... you could argue he was a bit at fault as well. We conceded the second goal. Because you could say that Skelly underhit the pass. At the same time, it kind of went into Martinelli's feet. He just didn't get it under himself. So, for me... Why not convert Martinelli as a right wing back? Well, he won't work as a right wing back. He should be a left wing back in the first case because Saka is playing on the right. That would be the case. If we play 3 at the back or 5 at the back, I think Saka plays left wing back and Martinelli plays right wing back. To be honest, Martinelli as a right wing back actually could work as a left wing back as well. But we don't play 5 at the back. That is the big thing. So that's why I don't think it could work. But yeah, I'm giving him a 5. Sorry, not sorry. Declan Rice. Declan Rice. What we saying about Declan Rice for yesterday's performance? You could argue it was his best performance this season. Would you argue that? I want to see if Saka could play in the false 9. That's actually an interesting statement. That could be actually kind of interesting. Saka hold up play. Yeah, Saka, for being so short, the strength, the way he can hold up the ball, it's actually pretty nice. Declan Rice. Declan... Well, yesterday he wasn't Declan Couscous 100%. He was actually pretty decent in my opinion. Yes, he lost the ball on a few occasions. He actually, what Declan Rice did yesterday is something I want to see him do much more often. The long balls he was distributing at times was actually fantastic, and we need to see more of him from that. It was like West Ham days, basically. But for me, he was very decent. I'm gonna give him 7.5. I'm gonna give Declan Rice 7.5. He was actually very decent. He was playing as a 6 as well, so that was working actually, I think, into his hands as well. 8 close to 9, 6.5. Almost two polar opposites of the in a way. It's something in the middle. I'm giving 7.5. Mikel Merino. Mikel Merino. The Flash. Mikel Lightning. Lightning Merino. Bullet Merino scores straight from his Spanish head, scores straight a goal. Yeah, that's the thing. As a 6, he is fantastic. He needs to play more there. Merino, beautiful goal, great leap, nearly an offside by the way, but straight on the point. Some decent passing. He actually gave the ball to which should have resulted into assist. I think Havertz mishit the ball again. But yeah, Merino was actually very, very decent. So I'm gonna give Merino 7.5 as well. Yeah, Merino 7, Merino 8, so 7.5 seems kind of fair. Leandro Trossard. Ay, Dios mío, Costanza Bomboniera. Leandro Trossard. Oh boy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm rewinding the game in my head. I have a bit of a struggle to remember what he did yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not capping, nothing whatsoever. I'm struggling to remember what he did yesterday. Huh. Interesting. Anyways. Trossard. Lost the ball quite a bit. Did some passes. Was trying to do things. I'm gonna give him a 5. Trossard gets a 5 for me. I'm sorry, but this game also just doesn't cut it. Just doesn't cut it. I'm giving him a 5. He had some good moments, but overall until over the span of the game, just not good enough. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, 6. Below average 4, and I'm a Trossardinho fan club, so 5 seems fair. Kai Havertz, Donkey Kai, not King Kai yesterday, but Donkey Kai. Donkey Kai Havertz, Donkey. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very tempted to give him a 4. I'm not capping. I'm kind of tempted to give him a 4. For what as a striker he should be doing, he should be getting a 4. But due to the sole fact that he is asked to play 2 different roles at the moment, he is asked to play 2 roles, like in between the number 9 and 10 role, and he's trying to kind of get in spaces, hold up the play at times and distribute the ball. He's trying to get on defenders' nerves, and he's doing that well. Van Dijk generally got pissed off at him at times. I'm gonna give him a 5. I'm giving Havertz a 5. But dude, you need to start scoring some goals. You cannot have 3-4 chances in a game and miss all of them. You just cannot have that. Not even get a shot on target. Yeah, 6, 5. Yeah, 5 seems fair. Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka, my man of the match for the game. Bukayo Saka for me gets a 9. Bukayo Saka for me gets a solid, strong, powerful 9. Very good, coming back from injury and everything, did fantastically well, was cooking in the first half. In second half, obviously, we changed the tactics, a bit died off, but still he was trying to hold on to the ball, press the play, do his thing. Obviously, didn't work as much against Tsimikas, also it was a bit different. But overall, yeah, I'm giving Bukayo Saka a strong, powerful, scintillating 9. Yeah, coach says 9, and exactly. Arteta needs to give him more freedom and allow him to play in spaces. Exactly. I think Bukayo Saka needs the same type of treatment what Wenger did with Alexis Sanchez. He allowed Alexis Sanchez to just be anywhere. Allowed him to float around. Obviously, he was either on the wing on certain side, but he allowed him to drift wide, cut in, get in open spaces, on a free roam type of role. I think Bukayo Saka in that instance is actually the most dangerous one. Because you have to keep your opponent guessing. Because one-on-one, we all know what Saka is gonna do 9 times out of 10. But unless he gets the ball in the motion, in certain gaps, then he is the most dangerous with his unpredictability and ability to finish with both feet. So I think we should be trying to give him a more free roaming type of role in that sense. Imagine Saka with the Palmer freedom. Yeah, that could be very, very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Sorry. Vanieri. I'm giving Vanieri 6. A standard 6, basically. Skelly gets Skelly. I wanted to give him a 7, but he gave the ball away, which caused us losing the goal. So yeah, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna give Skelly 5.5. I'm gonna give him 5.5. He did well on many instances, but you can see that at times when he defends, he's a bit naive still. You can see the youngsters' naivety and everything, and you cannot exclude that when you're judging a player, when you're giving him a rating, at least the way I think. Because there are players, obviously, as I like to say, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And if you give Vanieri time, if he's good enough, let him play. If Skelly is good enough, let him play. But you can see that he's still not ready. He's still no, I wouldn't say quite a bit raw, but he is still raw in certain instances in the game. I'm giving him a 5.5. Okay, no, I'm not gonna give him a 6. Why not? Let's give Skelly a 6. He had the vision, just undercooked the pass. Yeah, that's the thing. He underhit the pass, which resulted in us conceding straight away. He underhit the pass. You could argue also Martinelli made the run a bit too fast, but to be honest, his job was to get the ball into Martinelli's feet. He kind of did that, just a bit too behind. Whoa, coach is giving 5. I'm giving a 6. Kivior. Oh, bloody hell. Jakub Kivior. Kivior gets... Jakub Kivior, oh my goodness gracious. He had some good moments, but I cannot forgive him when they crossed the ball over the top. He legitimately just went straight back to Spezia pretty much. I cannot forgive him that. So I'm giving him a 4. I'm giving Kivior a 4. He had some good moments, don't get me wrong. But every single time he's on the ball and every time he has to defend, I don't have this confidence that he's gonna do it. I have this always the thought in my back of my head, he's gonna give away a foul, it's gonna be a penalty, he's gonna miskick the ball. With other defenders we have in the team, pretty much every single one to be honest, I don't have that scare. With him, it's something that's just not adding up. The math ain't mathin' with me and him in defensive wise. So I'm gonna give him a 4. 4 and I'm generous 5, so I'm gonna give him a 4. And Gabriel Jesus, the last one before to finish things off here. Gabriel Jesus. 50, it's nearly 60 grand a week for Kivior. Oh my goodness gracious. Yesterday's game was the game where he could have earned the big amount of his wages. Nearly did. That one moment and one lapse of concentration, and that was done and dusted. Gabriel Jesus. I'm sorry, fella, but you're done at Arsenal. He will start against Preston 100% in my opinion. We'll see how he does against Preston, because he started against Bolton. We put 5 past Bolton, and he did nothing in that game pretty much. Jesus, there is a player in Jesus. We saw that when he just signed in the first 3 months until the Qatar World Cup. But overall, since those injuries and those surgeries and everything, might as well have Maroun Shamach in the team pretty much. So at the end of the day, yeah, he's getting a 4. Completely agree. Coach gives a 4. Nathan gives a 4. Completely agree. Gabriel Jesus gets a 4 for me. Mikel Arteta, by the way, before I go off actually. The gaffer. Mikel Arteta. Lego head man. Mikel Arteta. He actually picked a very good lineup. I'm not gonna lie. It played like a charm. In the first half at least. Lacazette with cheekbones. Movijo basically Gabriel Jesuset or Lacazus or something like that. Mikel Arteta. If I base on 2 halves, for the first half he's getting an 8. No. He's getting a 9 for the first half. Mikel Arteta is getting a 9 for the first half. For the second half, he's getting a 4 for me. And that's solely based on the fact that I wish he went ahead more and he was more brave in the second half, especially given the fact that we play at home at the Emirates. You kind of maybe could make an argument if we play... Sorry, my camera died. At Anfield, you could make argument the way we played in the second half. But the way we played at the Emirates, at home, when we had the upper hand, especially after the first half, kind of cannot forgive him that. So 9 in the first half, 4 in the second half, put it all together, 13. So that's 6.5. So I'm gonna give him a 6. I'm gonna give him a 6, mostly because of the second half. I'm not gonna lie, mostly because of the second half, unfortunately. Because the first half was the perfect style we had to play. Second half, at least until Gabriel got injured, I wanted to see the same thing. I wanted to see us go for the third. I wanted us to go in the second half, score the third goal, and put them to the sword pretty much straight away. Because we should have done it in the first half, in the first place, but we didn't. But yeah, we decided to sit back, play more pragmatic, more conservative and everything, and it kind of screwed us overall. Especially the fact that we played at the Emirates. It wasn't even Anfield. That's what's bothering me even more. Think about dropping 2 points at home exactly to a title rival when they did not show up at all. Exactly. They were there for the taking. We should have taken them. We should have destroyed them. Especially if you think that we played about 30 minutes with the back line of Partey, White, Kivior and Skelly. They could have beaten us. It just shows how bad they were. That they couldn't score the third goal in 20 minutes after the Salah scored. 15, 16 minutes after the Salah scored the second with that backline we had. So that just shows how good we were. And they were there for the taking. So I'm giving Mikel Arteta a 6. But I think on that note, I'm ending it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You have been freaking fantastic. Big up Coach, big up Pepper, big up Nathan in the chat, big up everyone. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new around here, trying to hit that 300 subscriber goal by the end of the year. Hope you're having a great day. Tomorrow, Preston preview. I'm going to talk about injuries, of course, again. We're going to speculate about starting the 11 because we definitely want to see some rotation. And the fact that it's a Preston away game is a bit worrying, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for you today, that is it. Big up everyone. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. All that good stuff, and see you all tomorrow. Have a nice evening.